Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 4 of Fiction is Not Real with your host, myself, Rohan Soda, and Starge. How you doing, gentlemen? You doing all right? You doing good?
I'm doing all right, Elaine.
These are terrible accents. We're cutting the gimmick. It's not going to work out. We're about to get into the penalty box.
I was just gonna let you two embarrass yourselves, but
oh, I have no shame.
specialty.
We have already concluded the fact that we are immune to shamanization. But one thing that we are not immune to is giving unwarranted fucking criticism where it isn't or is due. Viewer discretion is advised because we're talking about fighting games. We're talking about the games where you look at your little brother and you say, you ain't shit. You ain't never gonna be nothing. Being my little bro is the closest you will ever get to obtaining success in your minuscule life. And I have to suffer the fact that I will no longer have the privilege of being an only child. And then you take out your frustrations on aforementioned younger sibling. Not because you would ever put your hands physically on them in real life. You'd protect them with your soul, of course. But you know, when you dial in the back and you got the sticks in your hands, you know, anything goes. Finish them. But as we know, there's been a lot of discourse, which is a word I have muted on Twitter because I am so tired of seeing people use it because it's like the only thing they know how to use for the word discussion. Like I see discourse more than I see discussion. But once again, that's another entire rabbit hole of a discussion down for another time.
At least they're not saying conversate as a verb.
Look, that one doesn't necessarily bother me as much, but it does bother me. I'm not gonna lie. Or the age-old adage, but y'all aren't ready for that conversation. Like, oh my God, like that one. It's like, yo, how far up your own ass can your head potentially be stuck for you to tell other people, but you're not ready for that conversation? It's like, are you ready for it? Because the minute someone has any sort of evidence to the contrary, all of a sudden, 95% of those people put on the blinders and they no longer want the smoke. They no longer want to continue this course of action where they talk about whatever it is. But all that aside,
I'm not ready for that conversation.
I will fight you, sir. You know, like
In a fighting game? Good segue.
Yeah. Pull it up right now. But alas, a lot of people have been having this conversation about are fighting games doing enough to capture the mainstream worldwide audience at large? Can they truly captivate what we know as the casual gamer? As we've seen with plenty of free-to-play games like your Fortnite, your Apex Legends, hell, even your Halo. Oh man, I couldn't get Halo Infinite out with a straight face. Oh man, that's tough. But Call of Duty Warzone, and you know, even games where you pay $60 like your Elden Rings, your Horizon Forbidden West, your Kirby's, then the Forgotten Land. Like there's so many games that have been coming out that could truly captivate people for years, regardless if they're pulling out the stops and necessarily pulling out multi-seasons of DLC and plenty of things that get you all hype like a season or battle pass, if that is up your game's alley. But like, we got to be honest here. Fighting games probably have the single worst gameplay loop out of any current genre as far as the average gamer would be concerned, because there's a lot of things on the plate to really vary up the content. Like you could
Idle games have more content. I will make that argument.
Idle games?
Like Cookie Clicker.
All right, you got go off, King. I'm gonna need to hear that one. I'm not ready for that conversation. Please, you enlighten me.
Sorry, you ever played Universal Paperclips?
No, I've played Cookie Clicker. I've played that. I've had enough idle games advertised to me via TikTok. Like, oh yeah, this is Idle Huntress. Look at this seduction. Look at these voluptuous vixens with all of the fixins. Look at how they lust after their enemies. And all you have to do is sit back and watch hands-free or hands-on, if you know what I mean. It's like, hey, yo, TikTok, I'm just trying to watch some funny-ass anime clips. I don't need to hear some dude beating his fucking meat. Asking with the game having dialogue boxes asking, do you ski? I don't need that type of drama in my life. Thank you very much. Especially over a video game that's just like a bunch of like weirdly proportioned women clapping their titties together as an attack to do damage to some raging demon lord that's also has giant quadruple F breast size while they're just having dicks like fall on their fucking forehead. And I'm like, how you advertise this on TikTok when we was watching like Sailor Moon memes? Like I'm trying to figure out how we got here, but all right. Nonetheless, we're getting sidetracked. Go on. You're not gonna get off the subject of how are the cookie clickers beating the fighting games. I want to hear this.
Okay, fine. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit because honestly, when it comes to the idle games, it's the fact that you can do like two things at once. So the content is the other things as well as the idle game itself. But it's close.
Because look, with most fighting games, as it stands right now, you pay your $60. And for a lot of people, for most of the AAA games, you're getting anywhere from 16 to 24 characters, which isn't necessarily a terrible roster size. It's a good place to start, but we already know that for these games, it's a place to start. There's going to be not one, but two, but three or more seasons where you're going to have to plunker down anywhere from $19.99 to $39.99. I'm looking at you, Mortal Kombat 11, in order to fully grasp each character that's going to come out from the post-release state. Now, that being said, we've seen plenty of games, and I mean plenty of games over the past 15 years that have come out for $60 that have done nothing but ooze content from every orifice they could potentially ever have. Why? Because look at Elden Ring. There are people who have been playing that game by the, not thousands, not the hundreds of thousands, but the millions. And we still haven't discovered everything on that map. There are people who've been playing the game since launch who are still discovering new locations, new items, new drops, etc., etc. And there's a lot there that has really been able for gamers as a whole to sink their teeth into. Now, I'm not saying fighting games lack depth from the quote-unquote gameplay perspective, but in terms of content for the casual gamer, there's not a lot there. Because most of them just release with arcade mode, story mode, and other than that, you're going online. Obviously, you're going to have your training mode and maybe a tutorial, but let's be honest, the tutorials in a lot of fighting games are doo-doo butter, hot dog water. Like, they teach you that a mechanic might exist, but don't teach you the practicality behind using it. And I think that's one of the big problems. Like, for example, we know that there's some games where it's like walk forward. Oh, what's that? You can press E to go to your inventory. Use the gas mask so when you're submerged in some sort of acidic toxin and you see that your toxicity gauge is going off, you know that's when it's time to put on the mask. Like, it gives you a reason, what to do, why you're doing it, and a notification that tells you when you might want to think about doing it. In fighting games, it might just say, hey, this is how you do advancing guard. Okay, why would I do advancing guard? It's to get people off of me when they're pressuring me? No. They're just going to show a character chucking a fireball at you from full screen. And then you would advancing guard a fireball that you would never do it. But that's what you do. And you're just like, all right, that's neat. And like you've seen with like games like Guilty Gear is getting a lot better with their tutorials. But King of Fighters doesn't really teach you too much in terms of how to play the game, and which is why you'll have a lot of people having very misguided reasons on what they're doing and justifications for why they would do it. But like outside of the meta game, when it comes to content, there's not much there. And there has never really been much there.
That's something sorry. I wanted to touch really quick on you talking about how, fighting games, I will agree, they have depth, but it is sort of also kind of a misnomer in the sense that the depth there is sort of exploring the mechanics with another person. So in a sense, it's the meta. And like, how much do I want to say that's purposeful?
Where's the thing? Grinding the meta and, obviously the options that you have when you have interactions with other people in game, that has a myriad of depth that's almost infinite. But ding dong, dumb dicks, you could say that about any online competitive game in any genre. That's not a fighting game exclusive thing at all. Because it's not. Because, let's face it, every game of chess that you're ever going to play is going to have a different subset of interactions in which you're going to be testing the knowledge of your opposition. The moveset and the paths that you will make that are the first moves that are available to you when you're playing the white pieces will always be different than some of the moves that you're going to be doing when you're playing the black pieces, because white goes first. Hashtag white privilege. Sorry, I had to get that one out there. But in fighting games, right, we know that obviously the depth is almost infinite from that perspective. But when I say depth of content, we're talking about if I buy a game and it's the very first time I'm playing the game, I could boot up, let's say, Call of Duty. I can play the campaign. I could play Battle Royale. I could play zombies. I could play any myriad of maps that all have different interactions, different weapons, different drops. I could play Kill Confirmed. I could play Search and Destroy, where the only thing that matters isn't always kill as many people as possible. With Halo, you could play co-op campaign, except for Halo Infinite. It's not in the game yet. Fix that shit. But you could play co-op in most Halo games. If you're talking about the Master Chief Collection, you have the custom game browser. So you could play shit like Jenga. You could play Uno. You could play hide and go seek. You could play Barney tries to kill you with a gravity hammer, run away from him in the dark. That's a real game, by the way, and it's hilarious. You could play Juggernaut. You could play Ninja Knot. You could play Infection. You could play custom maps of Infection where you have to run away from the zombies in such a way where during the daytime, the zombies cannot spawn. And you have to like set up barricades, destroy certain walls in order to escape this facility like Resident Evil, and you're the scientist and you're trying to get away and all you have is a pistol with 6 shots and then a swarm of players try to come. Like, there's so many ways that the game opens up to you where there's almost just infinite content. Every play session can be distinctly different.
Frosty, you're making me sad.
Yeah, all the things that you don't have in Halo Infinite. Yeah, I know. I know. I made
Where's
a video,
the
by the way.
content? Where's the fucking content, 343?
By the way, we'll have that video in the description where I shit all over Halo Infinite for all the things I just mentioned that they don't have.
Where's the content?
Halo Infinite's kind of comparable to fighting games in terms of the content. You have your story mode. You have your practice mode, where you can play against the bots. And then you have online ranked and online casual.
They still not let you pick fucking, like, game modes when going online?
No.
Oh my god.
Halo Infinite has a myriad of problems, which I talked about on a YouTube video that I'll have in the video description below. That is your second reminder that there's another video for you to watch. More content, more problems. But with fighting games, you could pick just about any of them, and it's just online ranked, online casual. And you may be saying, but what about the story mode in the arcade? Some games like Street Fighter V don't even launch with it. Yes, they had to do that as an add-on later on. And when it comes to the story, have any of you seen the story mode for Street Fighter V? Because it's like random 30s. Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, I might have seen like pictures of like the ending art screens or whatever the hell.
Oh no, this one had cutscenes. It was the story of Rashid and his friend.
Oh wait, a little bit. Yes, I have.
But like most of these are predicated on predetermined fights in which you're going to be playing with characters that you may not even give a damn about in one way or another. They do not teach you how to play the game. There is nothing that preps you for the game at large. Because let's be honest, anybody who's ever played a Mortal Kombat game, Tekken game, or any other fighting game that you can think of that has a comprehensive story, no matter how they window dress it, 9 times out of 10, this is what the story mode is. You just button mashing with all the characters you don't care about. The small chapter where you get to play with a character you actually care about is piss easy because you're actually doing things because you're putting in the time to learn the character. And then 2 or 3 fights into that, we cut to some other place on the planet where you're talking about 2 or 3 new other characters, and now you're playing one of them. And then eventually you do this 12, 13, 14 times, and then the credits are rolling. You have learned fuck all about how to play the game and the mechanics within the game. So you may say, we're going to go into arcade. You might do a couple of arcade runs until you get a little bit more comfortable with a character. And you'd be like, okay, now basically all you have is online. That's it. That's the gameplay loop. If you ever get sick of the meta, there's nothing else for you in the game. Why do you feel as though like so many people who have been sticking with Dragon Ball for a while see that Lab Coat 21's in the game and they're like, oh, it's over. GG's. I'm not playing this anymore. Everyone's just playing Lab Coat. Hell, when I dropped the game, it was because every time I went on ranked, it was just UI Goku, Vegito, Gogeta. That was it. Y'all saw the stream. I pulled up the last 100 games, and 57 of those games had at least 2 of those characters, and 30 of them had all 3 of those characters.
Like Evo. Fucking, you're
like,
the one that's gonna die.
I felt like I was in purgatory, playing the same thing over and over and over again ad nauseum to a point to where it's like, all right, I'm done. Because the game doesn't really offer you too much more. And Dragon Ball FighterZ is one of the games that offers you more than the typical fighting game because their story mode actually had stuff for you to do. It was very remnant of Budokai 2, if anybody played that, where you had like the little board that you had to travel around. You got buffs and power-ups and things of that nature. And so, yeah, there was definitely more on the plate there. But it was still bare bones because the gameplay part of it is still get your opponent's HP to 0 in the 2D fighting game. The rule set and what you had to do in order to facilitate that doesn't really change. You get some augments that give you some buffs, let you do more damage, take more hits, defense ups, HP ups, things like that. But nothing to where it was like, all right, there's a giant meteor about to hit.
Same game.
Yeah, it's not like a giant meteor is about to hit the planet. Now you got like quick time events, and then you got a super dash through certain rocks, and then like, you know, do things that actually require you to do things that aren't just get the opponent's HP to 0. Or in some cases, survive the onslaught, aka run away like a coward until the time limit runs up. That's essentially it. And you guys have to see that for $60, that's not going to cut it for a lot of people. Most games that just have an online-centric gameplay loop are free to play. Results may vary, but they're free to play.
Yeah, I was going to bring up this. This isn't a problem for games focused on player versus player gameplay loops. Those exist and they're successful, but why is it that fighting games have the issue?
Well,
there's nothing to fucking do.
What's the thing? I don't even think it's just that. Like, I do believe that fighting games obviously can have levels of success in terms of, you know, just engaging people with the gameplay loop. But I think the issue that isn't just with its depth and being $60. It's the fact that there is this notion and this stigma that there is a large time sink that immediately comes with this genre that is not attached to anything else.
Yep.
Like, you could look at any of those crazy ass rhythm games. People will play them knowing damn well they're going to fall flat on their face, but they're just playing them. In a fighting game, they're designed in a way that is very frustrating. And I don't mean from a standpoint of the games are designed to piss you off. I mean, they're designed from a place to where it is 100% based on being a competitor. Because if you can go on Halo and get smashed, GG, go next. There is no problem with that. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, you're playing with a team. If you're getting smashed, you're like, oh, but all 3 of these teammates are getting smashed. When you playing with the homies and you're going up against XX Sasuke 420 XX Blaze, and he's just taking a giant defecating shit all over your team, you're like, it's not my loss. It's our collectively.
See, communism.
I'm not
our loss.
I'm not the only one who couldn't beat this guy. We couldn't beat this guy. Or you can obviously have the ultimate, what I like to call the classic. Oh, that guy's hacking. No way he's that much better than me. Definitely a hacker. Yep, he's been hacking. Not real. And there's so many different excuses that you can genuinely use that
Or
people use all the time.
The old DSP excuse. My fucking controller, dude. It's my controller is broken.
You heard me mashing, dude. It's like high tide. Oh! But yeah, like there's so many things that happen during, the course of, a first person shooter, or, even like, a game like fucking Madden, where there's so many things that you can blame that aren't you taking 100% accountability of what happened on the screen. In fighting games, they don't give you that option. You don't really get, if you get clapped, you get clapped. But
That
even when yeah, but see, the developers are getting rid of that. They're up in their netcode. Cross tag battle is getting netcode adjustments. That's wild to me. There's going to be an Arcana Heart character and a Ruby character in rollback netcode. Think about that. Think about where we are as a society. But the thing is, no matter how you shake it, when it comes down to, playing online, if I get killed in a battle royale and I get destroyed, I press escape, leave game, and I requeue. That's it. Match could be 10 seconds. In a fighting game, if you are getting clapped and you have no chance, you better get ready for rounds 2 and potentially round 3. Or if you're playing a game like Tekken, round 4 and 5.
Like, it's such a miserable experience.
Like, and in a battle... Oh, go on.
I was going to say, like, you can either just sit there and take it or be a shit heel and then DQ or disconnect and shit.
Here's another thing, too. Is like, those other kind of competitive games, like first-person shooters, they have, like, a more immediate kind of, like, you could just pick them up and play. If you've played a first-person shooter, you can pick up any competitive first-person shooter and just play it.
I mean, I agree.
Whereas, like, fighting games, you spend a long time being really bad at fighting games until you get good at a fighting game.
Yeah.
Like, it's a serious time investment, and it's a lot of time spent not having a lot of fun.
Here's the thing. That depends on what you would consider fun, because I could make the argument that some people like, the grind in and of itself, but we know that's obviously not the casual gamer, because casual, grind, those are polar opposites right there. Like, that's not something that necessarily happens, but
that's not my idea of fun.
Oh, I know. I know. I 100% agree with you. I don't mind the grind. I think that's kind of, making the adjustments to get better as a player is something that, I really like seeing in a game. But like I was saying, and like you were just saying and alluding to, there's this whole thing about presence in games where you get what we like to call the universals. If I show you how to play Halo, never played a video game before, and you play Halo, I could take out Halo and put in Call of Duty. You already have a starting point on what you're supposed to be doing. If I give you a game, like, let's just say, for the sake of argument, I give you Mega Man, right? You're probably going to figure out really quick, spikes are bad, pits are bad. I give you Crash Bandicoot, spikes are bad, pits are bad. I give you Sonic the Hedgehog. Once again, spikes are bad, pits are bad. 9 times out of 10, when you're using your right analog stick, you're moving the camera, you're pivoting it. These are universal mechanics in just about every single genre of games. Your entirety of your gaming career, with any other genre, your D-pad movements are made for running to the left, running to the right, walking through a door, or in any modern game, selecting something on the menu, toggling your grenades, turning on your flashlight.
Yeah.
Now I'm telling you,
using a healing item.
Yeah. Now I'm telling you, oh no, you got to press forward, down, back, forward, but you got to roll the thumb. You got to make sure you hit those diagonals, though. You're going to be like, what in the fuck? You're going to be confused. You're going to be lost as fuck, my guy. You're going to be in the Shadow Realm.
That's just one type of special move. Then there's charge.
Yeah, then there's charge characters, and there's plenty of different things that like are coming from a place where no other game outside of this genre is going to give you any sort of stepping stones to understanding this. Do you know how many people would be absolutely taken aback if I said, oh, you press up on the D-pad to jump? Like, anyone who plays fighting games, you're like, yeah, and you don't understand how oblong that sounds to people who don't play fighting games when, like, I invite them over and it's like, oh, yeah, I like Dragon Ball. And I say, oh, how you jump? And they be pressing A and, like, they throw a key blast. I'm like, oh, no. Okay, I see. So what do you do? So how do you jump? And I say, oh, up and up forward and up back. And they're like, what? And then it's like, okay. Well, how do I throw a key blast? A. Okay. How do I throw a beam? Down, forward, A. Excuse me? Yeah, down, forward, A. So, like, they're holding down and forward at the same time and then pressing A. And it's like, no, that's just a key blast and I'm crouching. It's like, no, you got to press down and then, like, swing to forward and then press A. Like, that's a very weird discussion to have with somebody. To actually have to explain when you say, oh, it's down, forward, A. They hold diagonal down and forward and then press the button.
Yeah. And even the universals you can find amongst fighting games aren't always true. Because, I mean, sure, for the most part, holding back guards, but not in Mortal Kombat.
And some games have idle guard, where if you're not pressing anything, you just Yomi guard everything. So, I mean, it's not like, you know, there are universals, but I feel like I don't necessarily want to talk about mechanic universals because I feel like that might not necessarily be fair because anybody can get used to those. But at the same time, fighting games get to a point where it's a science. Because I want you to name me one game right now. Just name me any genre right now that you can think of where knowing frame data is a basic thing that you need to know in order to be successful. Can you name me one? Like, at best, you might be able to say a game like Overwatch where you have to, like, keep a manage of somebody's cooldowns. But, like, even then, that's like 6 seconds. And just knowing that, like, oh, yeah, I saw him use it, so he's probably got it again now. That's different than he's -4, so I can only hit him with these 2 buttons in order to punish him. In some games where the move lists extend to like 80 plus moves. I'm looking at you, Tekken. I'm looking directly at you.
Yeah, I can't think of a single fucking thing where frame data like that is helpful.
Because other games that are challenging that may necessarily be 2D and like they try to, you know, implement something that requires timing or try to show you that this is a special case where only certain things can, you know, get you out of the situation, like Cuphead. Cuphead says you can parry things that are pink. And they make anything that's parryable vibrant pink. And it's very obvious. In a fighting game, something could look minus as hell. It's actually plus. And there are things that look plus and it's -3.
Oh yeah, that's also disregarding the fact that sometimes you have to do your own homework. The game will not fucking tell you.
Yeah, because it's only a relatively recent thing that games have started putting frame data in their pause menu. And in a lot of cases, the frame data is wrong. So there's some things that have been punishable. No, in Mortal Kombat X and 11, there have been some discrepancies between what is real and what the game said it was.
How does that happen? Like you, my brother in Christ, you made the game.
See, you say that, but even Tekken had some wrong frame data when they decided to patch in some frame data. Yeah, that's tough. Also, then you have to factor in stuff like reversal timings, infecting when moves come out, being able to buffer certain inputs, negative edge, and how, like, there's so many different things that you have to basically get a deep understanding of in order to be adequate at fighting games. And at the base level, most fighting games, for a lot of people back in the day, remember when we had arcades? You were perfectly fine with, I only play that game when I go to the arcade. A lot of these were not necessarily games that people wanted to bring home because we could just play them at the arcade and get basically 95% of the experience of the game that we get when they release it on home console. You couldn't go to the arcade, play Elden Ring, and think you got everything that game has to offer. Even if we gave you 6 hours worth of credits to play it. It just wouldn't suffice.
God, you'd spend like $1,000 trying to beat that game.
And the other thing with fighting games, as opposed to like any other game that's like competitive, the vast majority of them, you can do this thing called, hey, what's going on, my boys? Joe, Sora, hey, y'all want to hop on Overwatch? Y'all want to hop on Apex Legends? You want to hop on the Halo, League of Legends? How about the Dota? Hey, Pokemon Unite. We could discipline some kids together. Yeah. And then we could go play together in a way that when we win, we feel great. When we lose, we're like, damn, that's tough.
Or we don't fucking hate each other.
Yeah, but we can still play together. But it's not even about hating each other because, see, here's the thing. No matter how good one of us is at like Halo, if we're all playing Halo together, there's so many different ways where we can even the playing field in the game. Yeah, Frosty, your aim's too good, so we're about to play Jenga. Fuck my aim gonna do now? That shit ain't gonna help me. It's not. Oh, what's that? You guys want to play Barney Attacks Us with Dinosaur? Now you got me running around going,
This is why SWAT is banned when we're playing with Frosty.
Yeah, but even when we're playing SWAT, 9 times out of 10, y'all see me and then y'all run to the other map and start farming each other. Quickly, Nick, kill us all so he can't win. So even then, there's still ways out of it. The problem with fighting games is fighting games are really only fun when everybody in your group is relatively around the same skill level.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been a lot of times where it's like, why the fuck would I want to play with that guy when he's just going to wash me for 2 hours?
Yeah, that is so incredibly rare.
Or like you'll have like a situation where like maybe it's 2 of you who just don't give a fuck about getting good at the game and y'all just mash on each other and think the game's fun. But at the same time, while you may be mashing on each other and you don't care about learning the game, going online has got to be a nightmare for you. That has to be miserable to go online, mash a button, get disintegrated, and then it's just like, you lose. Would you like to play again? For fucking what? I would rather go play Devil May Cry. And sure, that's not a game where you necessarily mash, but if you do mash, you can get a lot farther, a lot more consistently than going online and just getting tore up from the floor up, and the combos don't even look as cool. Because I've seen some of the stuff people mash in Devil May Cry, and the shit still looks sick. It's not optimal, but it's sick. In a fighting game, a lot of developers have tried to lower the skill ceiling and make it to where it's accessible, which I don't think accessibility and making things simpler are necessarily the same thing.
Not problems.
But every developer for some reason thinks it is. And the reason why I say that is, look, you can have a bunch of accessibility options, like colorblind options, enhanced audio options for people who, might have trouble seeing things and they might need audio cues. There are some games that allow you to slow down certain interactions. So, people who don't have necessarily the best reaction times can still be able to play the game. Blah, 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 blah. Mashing square to do a combo, that's not an accessibility option. That is just dumbing the game down. But at the same time, I don't feel like a lot of fighting games actually reward you for learning in-depth mechanics, especially now. I don't know if you guys feel the same about that.
I don't know enough about, like, in depth about new fighting games to say, so.
I mean, I guess the only reward really is to. You have to be someone that getting better at a skill makes you feel good, because your only reward is literally like, oh, you got better, so you can beat that guy now. Because what else is the reward?
Well, there's not really too much returns in terms of, once again, the fighting game gameplay loop, which is just, are you going online? Are you winning, son? That's about it. Is your win rate going up? Just about every other game, there are plenty of other things that you can do in order to entertain yourself, especially if it's coming with a $60 price tag. And
sometimes you'll earn cosmetics, but that's it.
But even then, with fighting games, like, most of the cosmetics are going to cost you $2.99.
Like, for me, the time to fun ratio is just not there. Like, that's what it boils down to.
I could see that. But you want to know what else I can see? Most of these other games that come out, it's like, hey guys, this is what's in our battle pass or our season pass, or this is what we're going to have for DLC. And they give you a roadmap. You know what they don't fucking do? Their announcement isn't 6 silhouettes.
I had the battle pass today.
Season 1, it's 4 characters. Who are they? Don't know. Then what am I buying it for? You'll find out.
There's 3 of them you won't like, and one of them you'll be like, that's kind of cool.
Which is why, you might as well just wait for them to come out and buy individually. But the way the pricing works, if you buy them individually, you're technically getting ripped off by a few bucks, but it is what it is. Not to mention, there's this whole thing that I like. Injustice 2 got on my nerves so much when they announced the Ultimate Edition. They were like, yeah, you can buy it at launch for $100. Gets the first 4 characters and Darkseid. And it's like, so you admit that this is on this DLC. Like, you admit that's what that is. Because he's there day one. You know this.
Street Fighter X Tekken all over again.
And it's like, all right, whatever. It is what it is. And I feel like we let fighting games get away with doing that type of shit a lot. Like, a lot of us do call it out, but people still buy it. And I feel like a lot of other genres don't let them get, like, bodied like that over and over and over again. Unless it's Call of Duty. I think that's the only one where people voluntarily spread their cheeks and just say, come on, Daddy Activision, you know where to put it.
It's like the first fighting game I really fell in love with was Blaze Blue. God, what was the subtitle of the first game?
Calamity Fighter?
Yes. And then, I'm loving Iron Tiger and whatnot. And then the sequel comes out, whatever the hell subtitle that game was.
Continuum Shift?
Yes, that sounds right. And what is the $60 add? Some story, and then, like, what was it? A few new characters, and that was pretty much it.
And then you had Continuum Shift 2, which I believe was free, but then they made Continuum Shift Extend, which I believe was like $39.99, and that's when I stopped playing Blaze Blue, because I'm like, no, I'm not going to continue to buy just slight revisions of the same shit that I've been playing. Because a lot of this, let's be honest, I'm paying $39 for a balance patch.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, there might be a couple of new characters in there, but like, this isn't like the aforementioned example with Mortal Kombat where I can pick and choose which ones I want. If I get the quote unquote next game, the next installment, this is an all or nothing deal. And let's be honest.
Yeah, buy part of the game.
Yeah, it's like, and let's be honest, the story mode that we have for these games, for Blaze Blue, I'm not saying that they suck. But it gets mad weird that, like, the first couple of games have voice acting for, like, for an English dub. And then after that, they're like, go, no English.
Wait, seriously? They stopped doing dubs?
To my knowledge, Chrono Phantasma and Central Fiction do not have English dubs. Because
Wow.
I'm pretty sure there's an English dub mod, but I'm pretty sure the story mode does not have an English dub. I know that for a fact with Central Fiction. What's the Chrono Phantasma? I actually don't know about that one, but I'm pretty sure they don't have an English dub for Chrono Phantasma as well. Some of the characters don't even have English voices when you play as them. They just never got voices. Shame as that may be, there's a lot of things that are in these games that we take for granted with any other genre that just don't show up here. And once again, I'm not over here to shit on fighting games. But what I'm saying is, it's a real hard sell for me to buy a game for $60, knowing that that's all I'm going to get.
Yeah. Like, for fuck's sake, I'm deeply entrenched in game dev. I am not going to try to make the argument that fighting games are fucking easy to make and they don't deserve $60. But you can't base the $60 of effort you put into the game all onto just how characters fight amongst each other. There's not much there for casual people.
Because a lot of people were like, yeah, but Mortal Kombat sells a lot. And it's like, yes, Mortal Kombat has been selling off the same gimmick. Over the top gore, fatalities, and a story mode that has some gags in it. But even that is starting to get a little old with a lot of people.
So, I mean, imagine, like, I had this thought in my head where, imagine any Souls game, but instead of the actual, like, game part of it, now it's focused on the PvP. Would you pay $60 for that? No.
Same netcode?
Okay, maybe, like, it has a bit better netcode, and, you know, they focus a little bit more on the PvP, but more or less, it's still Souls combat. Like,
No.
that's what it feels like sometimes to casual people, because they don't want to get into this huge meta discussion and figure out the mechanics to play against the other person. They just want to experience something.
Because they want to be able to play at their own pace and still be able to beat the game and enjoy it for whatever it is, no matter how their experience is molded to it.
Like, goddamn, man, I'm 30. I don't fucking have time anymore to fucking waste just getting better at a video game.
Because, I mean, let's be honest. Like, when it comes to the campaign, how long is, like, a fighting game story? Like, 6 hours?
What's that?
Like, let's see. MK11, I think, is 4 hours worth of cutscenes. And I think, like, what? I think it's like 12 or 13 chapters. So let's just say each one takes you about 20 to 30 minutes gameplay wise. So what are we looking at? About 8-9 hours?
Yeah, 7 to 9, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so like we're talking like 9 hours worth of gameplay or 9 hours worth of a thing, and then the rest of the gameplay loop is just practice mode. I mean, you do have towers, but once again, towers are just get the computer's AI health to 0 again, just with a new coat of paint. There's nothing really truly differentiating it, except for like some of the rare towers that show up where you get like augments where you can turn it into a tag fighter. But even then, once again, you're still just getting NPC's health to 0.
Like, it's a shallow add-on, but we need more cool shit like that.
Look, I have a very hot take here. We were shown the formula with Mortal Kombat Armageddon, okay? For those of you who don't know, Mortal Kombat Armageddon had an overworld in which you're playing as, I believe the character's name was Taven, and basically you're fighting in like a God of War-esque gameplay where you're running around uppercutting things, throwing them into the sky, kind of like Shaolin monks, but a little bit watered down. But when you're fighting a story mode character, it sucks you into the 3D fighting game arena. And then you have fighting game time. Then after you beat that guy, you go back to a cutscene, and then you travel the overworld. There's secrets to find, new areas, some open world aspects, if you will. There'll be like people like, you shouldn't be here, prepare to die. And then you get locked into an arena where you got to kill all the enemies in the area. And then like Kano will show up and be like, fuck you, mate. And then like the 3D arena, and then you fight him in a traditional fighting game. And like, that was really cool. And not only that, they had bonus modes. And one of the bonus modes was a fucking kart racer. And this was on the original fucking Xbox, in the Xbox 360, like I think it was the Xbox 360 like launch game.
Didn't it have online?
Yes, the kart racer had online.
Oh my
god. The puzzle fighter had online. The
like
fighting game had online. All on the same damn disc. That game was ahead of its time. Now,
like,
granted,
why can't fighting games have like these sort of, I don't know, beat 'em up esque campaigns or something?
You'd think it makes sense, but no one really does it.
Because the other thing I think is really fucking fascinating about Mortal Kombat Armageddon is the fact that, I don't know if you guys have any played Puzzle Combat, but in the predecessor, I believe this is in Deception, they had chess combat. When I tell you that shit is fun with a capital F, it's great. I want you to think about any game. It doesn't have to be Mortal Kombat. You can pick any game of your choosing. You have a board of chess. All of your pawns, you pick a character on the roster. All of your pawns become that character. You do the same thing for your rooks, your king, your queen, etc. Your opponent does the same. You play chess until the part where the part comes where you have to jump a piece and knock somebody off the board. When you go to knock someone off the board, you punch them, like your character punches the other guy, and then starts a fight, and you get an attacker bonus. So like, because you won the chess part, your character gets like a 5% damage buff.
Do they get buffed or debuffed depending on what piece they are?
Well, no. Depending on the piece they are, depends on how much health they have.
Ah, okay.
So your king has 100% health. Your pawns, I think, have 10% health. And basically, there's two squares, one on your side, one on the other side, that are like around midfield. And if you land on them, all of your characters do 25% damage buff. If you get both squares, your characters do 50% more damage. So now it's not only about protecting your king, it's about controlling the board, it's about being good at the fighting game, but you're also rewarded for being better at chess.
Yeah. You don't have to be great at the fighting game, you can still win.
And then you have strategy on what you're going to pick as your pawn, because do you pick your main as your pawn? So you have 15 of your main, but they're all like can get killed by a throw. Do you make sure you only have one of your main and that's your king? So anytime your king is in danger, you can always get out of dodge. Like you gotta think about stuff like that. And stuff like that is a great way to break the gameplay loop and change it up. Like Mortal Kombat 9, like sure, we can all agree that test your might, test your sight. No one really gave a fuck about that. But having a tower mode that had a whole bunch of unique challenges where like shit would be falling out the fucking sky. Because MK11 has this as well, by the way, where shit will be falling out the sky, blowing up. And there's like some NPC that's in the background shooting hurricanes and fucking crazy shit at you while you gotta like circumvent that while fighting the dude. And then like, oh, what's that? Now you gotta fight a 3-on-1 endurance mode, but like you get a tag partner where you could call their assist. So now it's like, you get new combo routes that are not necessarily available to you in the regular game. There's an actual tag mode where you can pick 2 characters and they all have assist and do crazy shit, blah, 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 blah. There were plenty of ways to break up the gameplay loop of just going online and that's it. in which ways that actually felt like they added some depth and variety to the experience. A lot of fighting games don't have that. Because if you look at Street Fighter V, you have arcade, you have story, you have survivor, which all play fundamentally the exact same without much variance. And by without much variance, I mean none at fucking all. And then your online modes. That's it.
Oh, and I looked it up to be sure, Joe. The hilarious thing about why don't fighting games have beat 'em up modes, Tekken did that back in 3 with Tekken Force.
And that one was, let's just say that some of them are handled with care and some of them are not.
Like, I feel like Streets of Rage 4 is a better fighting game than most fighting games nowadays.
What's the thing? Streets of Rage 4 has more content than just about every fighting game on the market. Which is scary to say, but that's where we're at right now.
I just realized how funny it is that like all these recent fighting games are like, oh, we're focused on the meta and footsies. And when I think about Streets of Rage 4 with like, I'm not gonna say it's like shallow, but there's not like huge depth to what you can do. So it's a lot of positioning and footsies. Fucking Streets of Rage 4, the real modern fighting game.
Yeah, hey, you've been working on your nooch with Max, huh? Actually, no, you play Shiva. What nooch? When in doubt, ult it out.
Palm.
That's you. But yeah, like Streets of Rage 4, great game. Fantastic game. You want to know the funny thing about Streets of Rage 4 right now, though?
Not content.
No, that's not the content. It's that I could go in there right now, look at Steam, get the game and the DLC, and then buy it again for a friend and still have a few dollars left over that if I would have just bought a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
And this game had co-op at launch. Halo Infinite. Sorry, I'm not letting that go. Like, I have beef with 343 Studios. Like, we have actual. Who the fuck drops a Halo game? Get 6 months before they drop the story. Drop the story like what? A quarter of the year late, or a quarter worth of time later, and then say, yeah, no co-op. We need another 6 months for that. Kick fucking rocks. Yeah. I think one of the other things I think holds fighting games back, not just the price, not the grind. It's not any of that. Our community is kind of dog shit when it comes to letting people in. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. The Souls community, just as bad. But the thing is, you're not fighting them. Like, sure, they can invade you, but you could turn that shit off.
Unless you're playing co-op and then they're saving you from not beating the game correctly.
You're not playing the game right.
Yeah, okay, sure. You got those people, I guess, but
I know those people. I know those people exist.
We know those people, Frost.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you know someone like that?
Well, maybe they're not like that, but they focus on PvP and Souls games, and I don't.
Oh no, they're exactly like that. Exactly what I just said. Like they invade people to kill them, and when they're playing in co-op, to save them from not playing the game correctly.
What type of? Do I know this person?
You sure do.
Does their name sound like a cleaning product? Is that who we're talking about? We talk about one soapy boy. I don't know. It just sounds like his MO. Like, I just feel like I could hear him saying that. I'll take your laugh as confirmation. But like, nah, for real. Like, in all genuineness, I still love fighting games. But I think one of the problems is I don't know how you make other people who don't already love them with what they are right now.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, we know that there's a almost insurmountable amount of work that goes into these development teams where they have to work long hours, long days, lots of crunch in order to get these games out and be in the states that they're in. Much less us just sitting here on our haunches telling them, oh yeah, you got to make sure that your game can fit like a Yakuza game, a puzzle game, and a Mario Kart game in it, and then you wrap it up in a fighting game package, then you release it, because they'll never get done with that development, ever. These are not like the traditional AAA studios where you look at their credits and it's like 10,000 people and like only 7,000 of them are credited, because otherwise, if we credited everyone who was involved, the credits would be 17 hours. Credits might be longer than the game.
Just release your fighting game as a arcade mini game in Yakuza from now on.
Because I know some people say that, no, but they can't do that. That'd be impossible. And it's like, look, I've seen it done in Yakuza. I've seen it. Virtua Fighter is in there.
This shit is so insane.
So it's like, don't tell me that it's not doable.
Like, Sega are actually psychotic for doing that.
Like, that was wild to me. Like, Sega does a lot of wild things. We still don't have a Chow Garden mobile game, which to me just still boggles my mind. Yes, I'm still confused about how that hasn't happened yet, but we're waiting.
Chow Tamagotchi, I need it.
Look, man, you can't tell me that wouldn't just break the bank. Pre-order now and get the Easter egg collection and see these Easter Chow. They get bunny ear. Bro, it prints money, bro. Sega, do you like money?
You could even incorporate gotcha elements.
You could. Sega, do you like money? Because what I'm not going to do is buy Sonic 1 through 3 for the, 450th time you've released this shit? Because they're doing it again.
The chart is so funny. Have you seen the chart?
I have not consulted the chart. No, I have not.
It's like an Ubisoft pre-order chart.
No. Oh no, you're talking about the thing where it's like there's like 7 different versions of the game or of the collection, and like they each come with slightly different, but not a single one of them comes with everything. That's wild to me. You actually have to get like 3 to 4 different versions of the game to get everything.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah, because if you want the bonus coins, you got to get the Start Dash pack. But if you want the premium, or if you want the hard missions, you got to get the premium fun pack or the digital deluxe edition pack.
Sega, no.
Yeah, it's in shambles over there.
So I want you to look at one of the things featured, and it's character animation in the main menu.
Like, is that not crazy?
What?
Like, you know the thing that you got on the Genesis? Where Sonic and Tails would pop out and they do the finger wagging shit. Apparently, you don't get that unless you get the big boy versions. Also, letterbox background, by the way, is one of the features. And you only get it with the premium fun pack. If you get the digital deluxe edition, deluxe, by the way, deluxe, you don't get it. It's wild. They are not, in fact, pushing P.
The NTSC pack. Otherwise, you get PAL speeds.
Hey, man. Hey, don't give them ideas. They might take that one. Hey, you laugh. Trust me, they might do it, bro. We'll be in shambles then. They will have shown us. But yeah, folks.
Where's the pack with like a scan line filter? Like what?
Oh no, see, that's gonna be in the season pass.
You let me down, Sega.
No, that's in the season pass, bro. Don't worry. It'll be there. It'll definitely be there. But like, you can look at a game like Mario Kart where the gameplay loop is always just like the race. But let's be honest, the RNG elements, the fact there's like 40 something different courses, there's like different characters, like all that, all those variables add up a lot and considerably. Because let's be honest,
cards.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be you versus just one other person, like your friend. It's just a group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
And once again, with a game like Mario Kart, like the RNG definitely plays a big part in it. In like any racing game worth its salt, you can customize your car where you can make that car yours. You can make it very unique. There's not really too much customization that goes on in fighting games outside of what, Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat 11. And as you know, those games sell gangbusters with the casuals. That's a lot of the casual audience goes there. A lot of the casual audience went to Dragon Ball Z because, let's be honest, it's Dragon Ball Z. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a Dragon Ball Z game that has had any effort put into it that didn't sell something.
He is what sells.
Yeah.
Like, I always wanted to know, like, if they made a Dragon Ball Fighters, but like reskin it to be like Kill la Kill, would it sell? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, would it have still been heat if it was like,
it wouldn't
Kill la
have sold
Kill
nearly as well.
I'm trying to think of the other one. It's something I can't think of it right. Akame ga Kill. There we go. If it wasn't a Akame ga Kill game, we had as Death Loop. No, I'm saying if Dragon Ball Fighters was Akame ga Kill and we had as Death Loops, would we care? Would we care?
I don't even know what that is. So
if it was a Black Lagoon fighting game and like we had Revy and Rock Loops in the corner, would we care?
Yeah, I would. That'd be kind of cool though.
What did you say?
Well, I'm biased. I like kidding.
It sounded like you sound like you were having a stroke because Revy was involved with this one. Sora's legal team will not confirm or deny those allegations.
Do we lose him?
Hey, look, look, man, as long as he's not getting a chub over fucking Chainsaw Lady, we're fine. Now you speak directly into the microphone when you admit your sins. You good?
I post loud and horny on main. I'm not afraid.
Hey, look, man.
You didn't horny post once during this entire podcast yet. I'm kind of disappointed in you.
Yeah, should we
call me out like that?
Should we feel disrespected at this point, huh?
I feel like I should call you out every time, but sometimes I don't. It's just
the first couple episodes,
he's really just he's really just doing it in the middle of the podcast. He's just yep.
I mean, he's done it before. It would not be the first time he's done that. We're in the middle of just having a regular, normal conversation, and he's just like, "By the way, titties." and I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, you've lost your composure. What am I supposed to do with these? Yeah, look at them." And then he would just follow that up with a sound effect that's as quaint and as polite as the titties, something like, and then we'd move on. Because that's just who he was. You're making great strides. You're doing great, Sora. We like you. Oh, don't sit there with your arms crossed. I'm not picking on you.
Oh, no, it's not that.
You think he cares?
No. If I thought he cared, I don't think this podcast would exist. It would just be the Me and Joe show.
Admiring some millennia.
So he's not going to post it. See what he's doing right now? He's doing it right now. But alas, comment section, the commenters. Like, what do you guys think about fighting games? Like, are they really sucking you in? Are they really filling the hole in your heart? Are they really the bee's knees? Or do you feel as though there should be something more? Do you feel as though it would be better if they were free to play with a battle pass or season pass? Because Dead or Alive did that with the core fighters thing, where you could have free to play and then like there was like a couple of fighters that'd be free on the rotation, but then you can get a core fighters pass where you just get like the main 8 characters. Then there's a male pass. Yes, there's a male pass and there's a female pass. They do exactly what you think they do.
Yeah, they know their audience.
Yes, and the male pass is $3 cheaper than the female pass.
What do we think about Killer Instinct?
Well, here's the thing. Killer Instinct did it right, but here's the thing. Killer Instinct had plenty of content that they were willing to dish out over years. They had multiple seasons that had fulfilling enough content. They also had characters that let's be honest. While once again, the fighting game had a lot of depth. It also had a lot of basic, simple shit that anybody could do, and it looked cool. Because there are a lot of fighting games where you can do some basic shit, but it doesn't look cool. It doesn't have that, what do they used to call it, arcades? That attraction mode?
Going off sick shit.
Yeah, like, you know, like 5 buttons, sick shit. It may do no damage, but it look cool as fuck. And I feel like, you know, some fighting games need to go back to where it just looked cool as fuck. And yeah, sure, you could have obviously like, I think that DNF game that's coming out, there's some simple shit in there that looks cool as fuck. But once again, even if something does look cool as fuck, there's only so many times you could do the thing before you're like, all right, is there anything else? Is there any more to the meat and potatoes? Before you're like, all right, I'll just play something else.
Oh, can I say I'm so sick of fighting games throwing in these like special moves when your character's at low health.
Oh, you mean like Rage Drive, Fatal Blow?
Like Tekken 7, MK11, like all these games have this shit. Like,
well, see,
I do not like this mechanic. I do not like it.
Well, that's because people want more comeback mechanics, and I don't think the regular casual gives a shit about these mechanics. They just want, you know, a game that, you know, looks, because, like, let's be honest. Some people are like, yeah, but more people are playing fighting games now more than ever. And it's like, yes, but fighting game content creators have been getting more popular now more than ever. And let's just be honest. If there's any fighting game or any game that has a whole bunch of content, a whole bunch of different ways to play it, a whole bunch of different variables that come into play, it's Smash Brothers. And well, you see how that thing's selling.
But this that comes back to the like seeing something cool. Like even if you think that those moves look cool, you're gonna see them over and over and over and over again. It was like when MK9 came out and the the X-ray moves. It was like, these look cool the first few times you see them, and then you just keep seeing them over and over and over.
And yes, that's true, that you do see them over and over and over and over again. And yes, it does get old relatively fast. But here's the thing, like once you get like, you know, pretty decent at the game, these are usually like the last moves you will ever use, because it's, why would I waste all of my meter? Because at some point it's like seeing them is like, whoa, he did that?
Yeah, it's just I never progress out of that that low tier of skill of like,
it's almost a low tier trap. Like,
yeah,
like I've seen people intentionally get hit to build meter. Like when they're real close to getting their super, they're like, hit me, and then they'll use the super, and then like they'll whiff, and then they're like, I won't move anymore. You win. Because like here's the thing, you can't make anybody want to get better at the game. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like that does not happen. They have to want to get better at the game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like here's the thing, some people play Halo just to play it. They don't care about getting better or improve. They're just there to kill some time. In fighting games, trying to kill some time leads to you getting juggled, and you don't even play the game. You're literally watching the cutscene of your character getting juggled around the game until it says KO. Mm-hmm. You're like, damn, that was crazy.
Like that's most people that play like Call of Duty and shit like that. It's like they just want to fucking chill out after work, you know, do something that's not too demanding, unwind.
They just be trying to relax, G. Not, because here's the thing. Here's the funny thing. Every like FPS community, they're in fucking shambles about this whole thing about SBMM because they feel like it's turning it into a fighting game. It's like, what if I just want to chill? Now I'm going against a bunch of people who just clap my cheeks and I don't even get to play the game. And it's like, yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? And the response to that is usually get good. And it's like, yeah, get good works when you're playing like an offline thing against like an AI, because that's just, pattern recognition. Learning what works, what doesn't. In a fighting game, get good means no, you literally have to put in the time.
Yeah. Don't want to be a sweaty tryhard, goddammit.
But here's the thing, like once you put in the time for like a couple of games, a lot of the other games come mad easy. But once again, outside of this genre, I don't think there's like, besides what, beat 'em ups, and even then that's very limited. But even then, I don't think there's many games that actually share any sort of overlap with fighting games. But comment section, if you guys can think of any, you let us know. I mean, Cuphead was known for being hard, and that shit didn't have motions. Some people in that game couldn't even get past the tutorial, and they got paid to review games. Yes, I'm reminding everyone that is a thing that happened, by the way. But I will ask you guys this: do you think Guilty Gear?
That guy freely admitted that he was shit at the game, though. Like, I mean, people.
I'm aware. I just want to make sure that like,
shit. So
man got paid. Man got paid.
Why did they make him do it?
But I just want to know: do you guys think a game like Guilty Gear Strive is worth $60? Because remember, there is no story mode. You basically are getting a 6 to 7 hour DVD.
Getting Metal Gear Solid 4.
Well, no, I mean there's literally no gameplay. It literally says start story, and you just watch cutscenes.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
All right, I guess
have you seen the third act of Metal Gear Solid 4? Have you seen it?
I have not played Metal Gear Solid 4.
It is like literally 70% cutscenes. Like,
it's kind of ridiculous.
That's rough, buddy. So that was Metal Gear Solid 4, the Phantom game.
And then the next game had the very, very opposite problem.
Not enough meat and potatoes, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Because let's see. I know when we're talking about like, Guilty Gear Strive, they sold us silhouettes. Because we didn't know what characters were coming until like 3 to 4 weeks before they came out. Because at the beginning, it was just, and 4 new characters. At no point at near launch did we hear Baiken, Testament, Happy Chaos.
Did Mortal Kombat do that shit?
Mortal Kombat 11?
Yeah, any of the new ones.
Okay, so Mortal Kombat 11, I believe you could pre-order it. You could have pre-ordered Combat Pack 1. But Combat Pack 1 was announced with all of its characters in one, like in a trailer.
Because that would be especially heinous with Mortal Kombat, because it could be anybody, like it could be any fucking like random horror movie character.
Hey, this game got Terminator, Spawn, RoboCop, and fucking Rambo.
Exactly.
Fucking Rambo. But yeah, you could get the Combat Pack, and it showed you all the characters that would be in it. But Injustice 1, when you ordered Ultimate Edition, it just gave you silhouettes. It just said there'd be 4 characters.
That's fucked up.
And Fighter Pack 1 was actually kind of trash, bro. Because Fighter Pack 1 was 3 characters. It was Red Hood, Sub-Zero, and Starfire. Now, to some people, that's a certified banger. But for a lot of people, it was like, where's Raven?
Well, again, that's the thing. Like, I can't think of any other game where a DLC comes out and certain people are like, wow, this isn't for me. Because like,
Yeah, like
who's gonna?
you could
Sorry.
be in the category where it's like, oh, I'm only excited about 1/3 of this content.
Because the thing about I think if you had Ultimate Edition, I think you got to download them a week early. And I think they come out, and then I think a week after that, you can buy them individually. Now that I thought was fucked up.
Yeah.
Because they gave you like a 2-week period where they were definitely heavily incentivizing for you to buy the whole pack as opposed to buying just 1 or 2.
I'm sure they advertised it as like a early release for the pack owners. Like, you get early access, but what they're really doing is punishing you for not buying the pack.
I mean, they did the same thing with Mortal Kombat 11. You just knew who they were. But yeah, I can't think of any other genre where you look at a fighting, or when you look at the DLC that they announce and you're not like, yo, let's go. It's just not for me. I'll pass.
Fucking Dark Souls and Manus. It's not for me.
What, an expansion pack? Yeah, I don't need it.
Like, there might be a like you might play, I don't know, like Dark Souls 2 is a bad example because fuck that game. But like, you might get all 3 DLCs, and one of them you might think is a stinker, but you're still gonna play through that content. Like, you're still gonna experience it to an extent. You might not finish it, but you're still gonna get something out of it. Whereas if there's just a character you don't give a fuck about, you're not even gonna, like, you might get content from that, quote unquote, by fighting people who are playing that character, I guess. But you don't even have to pay for it at that point to experience that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at League of Legends or Hearthstone or, any other game that's free to play and you only have like, a few multitudes of ways to, play those games in terms of their different game modes that they have. But they still have more game modes than most fighting games do. And if you don't want to play a certain character, then you don't have to buy that character individually. And if you're okay with just playing with the random free rotation that they give throughout the, the weeks and the months as the year go by, you can obviously just, just play the game for free forever. I know, novel concept. And not feel like you're being punished. But you want to know something else I think is worth talking about? And I think this might be the last thing we talk about, though. I never really want to use esports, especially since we're talking about the casual audience. But any other game, even the fucking Overwatch League, when the developers want to treat their game like an esport, they go all out. All out. Umbrella
Corps, baby.
Okay, that's still Capcom. The Capcom they just don't know. But let's be honest.
They really wanted to make that an esport, though. I had to mention that.
But like when you look at like League, hell, when you even look at mobile games like Arena of Valor and shit like that, like when they have esport, they have all their shit. They put all the eggs in the basket. They go hard. When we have tournaments, we don't even always have nice chairs to sit in for our players. Sometimes grand finals, we playing in foldable office chairs. We playing in ECW foldable chairs.
And now you gotta pay Capcom a licensing fee and everything.
Oh yeah, there's that too. But like, we know that there's grassroots events for, every genre that you can think of. But like when we're talking about like the big time sponsors and, we're talking about like these games really pushing, the envelope, it be feeling like some of these teams getting 16th place and they still getting like $15,000 split amongst their team. Meanwhile, there's a lot of fighting game tournaments that are on official world tours where you get second place at the tournament and you don't even get enough money back to pay the hotel and the flight to get you there in the first damn place.
Yeah.
It's not a good look.
That's rough.
And I'm not saying that, like, you know, the production of their esports tournaments and events are, you know, are top notch, because they're definitely not. But I don't want to say we look poverty, but like when you see, once again, Arena of Valor, League, have you seen Pokemon Unite shit that they do online?
Oh,
Like, have you seen that shit?
Nope.
The EA and NA finals?
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, they got, like, you know, their own custom layout. They run commercials. And this is something that's on the Pokemon Unite official YouTube channel. They got graphics. They got all types of Titantron shit. And like they got like animated brackets. They got shit coming from the fucking like they have custom promo ads for like all the players, their statistics. Like, you know, they got data, you know, what do you call them? They got data analysts pushing up stats on the screen as the games are happening. This is what they did. This is how they did it. This is their path to pro, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, stuff like that. And I'm not saying that you need all that to necessarily be a good esport or whatever, you know? But at the same time, it makes it a much more digestible thing for viewers at home.
Yeah. That's a big thing for like spectators.
Yeah, so like, you know, like having these, you know, amenities on the stream aren't necessarily for the players or the people who already get the game, but these are like for people who might be new and, you know, might have a gauging or bubbling interest in the game. And this is a way to bring them in by, you know, letting them know who these players are, what their story is, their background, and like pushing them to the forefront as, you know, alongside the game. And I feel like a lot of our tournaments don't really do that. Like I think one of the best examples that I have is there was this I think it was We Play UFL, which they work with 1xBet, so they're probably going to try to scam you. I'm just saying. But beforehand, they had an event in Ukraine and it was fucking amazing. Like for Mortal Kombat 11. Like they had the production, like all the commentators were dressed as fucking sorcerers. They had a fucking 3D fucking projector of the characters coming out behind the fucking players. Like that shit was fucking wild, bro. Like if the dude played Shiva, there'd be like a 3D model of Shiva like pledging their allegiance to the player. I was like, what? What is this? This is amazing. And they ran that one event, and then there was a whole thing where they're working with 1xBet, which is like a big piracy website and a gambling website, and people were wondering if it was conflict of interest. And I don't think they did anything after that. And then obviously the events that are happening with Russia, anything happening in Ukraine is probably not fucking happening now. But alas, at that time, I was like, this is sensational. And it really put it into perspective of, wow, we ain't never seen no shit like this. Meanwhile, there's fucking mobile games who probably looked at that event and said, yeah, that's how we started in 2014.
Big hot take here. Fuck Vladimir Putin.
I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's an icy take. I think that's a
commonality.
commonality. Oh no, someone said fuck Vladimir Putin, and all of a sudden Sora's internet's getting cut. They cut the wrong man. Cut the wrong man.
I'm gonna take a sip of my water and fall over dead.
How'd they get to you so fast, Joe? Joe!
My cat was a Russian sleeper agent the whole time.
You've been meowed. But anyways, I think that's about it. Like, what do you guys think about fighting games? Would you want them to be free to play? If you were a fighting game developer, how would you go about marketing your game to the rest of the world? And I think this is going to end this episode of Fiction Is Not Real. And Sora wanted me to make sure that this message got out to to his wife.
I'm back.
Oh, okay. Never mind. We don't have to give your deep confessions. We'll see you guys next time.